Tanya Sproul, and I'm so glad that you decided to come in and accepted the opportunity to interview with us today. So tell me a little about yourself.
I am 23, just graduated from college 2 years ago. I have a degree in math and a degree in kinesiology.
Wow.
I'm wanting to be a math teacher and a coach at some point in my life is my goal. And this is my second year teaching.
Okay, great. Well, why did you decide to go into the profession of teaching? What kind of motivated you to do that?
I always really liked sports. I liked my coaches growing up. They influenced me a lot in life. And I wanted to be that for somebody else. I wanted to keep sports a part of my life and just have the opportunity to work with kids that truly want to learn, they want to get better. And I thought teaching would be the best way to do that.
Okay. So why did you choose this school? Like, why do you think that maybe this is a good fit for you? That maybe we're a good fit for you?
Because I like the want to win. I know everybody's on the same page. Everybody, wants to get better, wants to improve. And I've always heard really good things about the school growing up. Anybody that's worked here before has always really liked it. They seem very happy with the support they're given and how, and just kind of how they're able to run kind of their own classroom without a ton of restraints on them. So
Right.
I like the freedom.
Okay, I mean, I would agree with that. I think that we treat our teachers with respect and professionalism. We feel like they're here to do their job, and I think that they all do a really good job
Yeah.
in the classroom and managing the classroom and teaching their students, and our coaches do a good job coaching our athletes and caring about them. I think that's really important. So I agree with you definitely on that. I'm just typing on here just to kind of document
Okay.
some of your answers, just so you know. I'm still listening to you.
Perfect.
Okay. So what characteristics do you think students want their teachers to possess? I mean, what makes a student want to learn from that particular teacher, in your opinion?
The main thing I think is that the teacher's real with them. They don't
Okay.
sugarcoat anything. I know I've always been successful like that. I'm very straightforward with my students. And I think they have a level of respect because they know that you're gonna tell them the truth, you're gonna tell them how it is, and you're not gonna baby them through. And I think students react really well to that. I think they also want their teachers to be consistent with expectations, with the kind of work they're given. They don't want to be surprised every time they come into class.
Okay.
Especially at the middle school level, they need that structure of knowing whenever I come into class, this is expected, this is how she's gonna grade, this is how she's gonna teach. And I think students really appreciate that, and then just a mutual level of respect. Don't, treat them like they're less than you. We're equal at this point, and just treat them like a human being, not, somebody that's less than you. And I think they really react well to that.
Okay. How do you think a teacher's personality affects their success? Like, how do you think that your personality affects your success?
I think if you have more of an outgoing personality, I feel like you're more open for correction and you're more open to receive ideas from colleagues, which can be beneficial because the way you may be doing something may not be best practice, but if you're outgoing and you're open to hearing suggestions, then you will develop yourself professionally to where you get better. I feel like if a teacher is very, one-track minded, only focused on themselves and not focused on student development, then they're not going to grow anywhere, and neither are their students.
How do you think that carries over into, like, we're a PLC, campus, and so, our teachers meet often and plan together. So how do you think, as far as like personalities in a PLC environment, how does the personality of the teachers, because you may have different personalities in that PLC, so how do you look at maybe working with people that maybe aren't as outgoing as you, especially maybe like in a math setting? How do you feel like you could work with other people in your department?
I think it's important to figure out what each person's strength is, and that way you can kind of cater to that. So if you have somebody that's not as outgoing, but they understand this one topic really well, kind of praise them for that and be like, hey, I really liked how you did this, this, and this. Could you tell me how? And kind of build that relationship with them. And then if there's another topic that you understand really well, you could be like, hey, I like the way you did this, but here's how I did it, if you want to try something. But it's more of you have to make sure you're not judgmental, you're not accusing, and you're just ultimately looking out for the students. Even if, as teachers, we may not like to be told, hey, you might be able to do this better. Some teachers are kind of weird about that. It's about the students in the end and not us.
Right.
So I think as a PLC, it's nice because you get everybody's input, and with teachers that aren't as willing to take it, I think as the year goes on and relationships build, they may be more willing.
Okay, no, I agree with you on that. So in your classroom, and even I know with coaching as well, I'm gonna have some coaching questions for you. What role does discipline play in teaching, and what would your approach be? And then also, with your athletes, how do you feel about disciplining your athletes, or how does that look in a coaching setting? So two-part question for that one.
So for in the classroom, for disciplining wise, like as of right now, if I have a student, or if I had a student that wouldn't complete their homework or didn't complete notes, I try to make it known to where I don't call them out in front of the class. One, it needs to be a personal one-on-one type of thing, and just there has to be consequences. So I would email home or call home, or take them out of something they like. So pull them from athletics before I was a coach, or I would pull them during lunch so that they couldn't talk with their friends. And just that way, they soon start to realize, oh, she's serious, she's gonna check for all of this, I need to get my stuff done. And whenever it comes to athletes, I think it's important to bring in real life situations with athletes, because it's more than just our sports, especially at a middle school level. It's about more than how they perform on the court. So it's kind of telling them, hey, we're working on building your character, building you as a person. Like, I don't care if you go out and score 30 points right now. If you're not a good person, I'm like, that's not what we're going after. So kind of using that to pull them in, but not breaking a relationship where it's just instantly a punishment. Like having that conversation and then moving on from there is what I would do.
Well, and I think we have really good students here, and we have really good athletes, and I think that most of them are, very well mannered. I think some in society in general, there's probably like some entitlement, and sometimes you kind of have to deal with that, and sometimes with athletes in a community like ours, you'll have to deal with parents that maybe think that their athlete might be a little more than they really are. And so handling that in a delicate way, in a way that doesn't offend that parent, I think that's something that, a lot of people can be good at right off the bat. Sometimes it just takes time, but there might be some of those situations. But I think that all in all, we have really good kids, and they want to do a good job. They want to do, I think, the right things. And I think looking at their character, is important. And I think holding them accountable in our athletics programs, I think, is something that we really agree with on that, for sure. And I do think we do that, but I think it's important to have people that come on board that want to do that as well. So let's look at how, well, you kind of talked about this a little bit, but interacting with parents of your students and athletes, you don't have any kind of issues or fears of having to do that, because there's so many ways to communicate. I mean, there's emails, there's phone calls, there's, all kinds of stuff. I mean, but what is a positive situation with a parent, whether it's academic, like student in the classroom, or an athlete? Like, give me an example of a situation that was positive and negative, and how you handled that, each one of those.
So I had a student that would routinely not do their homework, not doing what I was asking. And at first I was emailing home, trying to get parents involved, and they were kind of uninterested, nothing really changed. Well, then one day the student showed up and they had actually done what I had asked. So I emailed home right away, and instead of it being a, hey, so-and-so did not complete their work, it was a, hey, today they showed up fully prepared for class, they had their notes, they had their assignment, and I just really appreciate it. And so I send off the positive when it does happen, because if a parent is always getting your kid's not doing this, your child doesn't do this, they stop reading, because Nobody wants to hear, how bad their child may be doing. So even with the more negative emails, I try to send something as a positive, like, hey, so-and-so is very respectful during class. They seem to be trying, but they have not completed what I've asked for. Or always throw in, I start with the positive, talk about the problem, and I try to end with a positive. Just that way it's not a straight up, this is everything your kid did wrong. It's they do some things right, but we also need to focus on this.
Okay.
That way they don't go under the radar and they're held accountable for what they need to do.
Okay. Well, what about, I know that you had mentioned in your resume that you were a high school athlete, so that you were, so do you have anything that stands out in your mind as a student athlete when you were one? Maybe a positive or negative situation that influenced you by a coach that maybe you had, that has maybe given you a different perspective on how you want to coach?
Yeah, so I had my softball coach my junior and senior year of high school. She was the assistant coach my freshman and sophomore year. She got promoted to varsity, and as an assistant coach, she was very helpful. She was very encouraging. Everything was great. And then my junior year, whenever I started looking at colleges to try to go play, she was very helpful. She understood what I was trying to do. She helped me along, which was awesome. And then once senior year came, I felt like there's like a strain on our relationship, like something changed. I don't know if it's because I was leaving or what, but I just kind of talked to her about it. I said, hey, I was like, last year you're helping me get my stats together. You're helping me reach out to college coaches. Like, I just want to know what happened. And so I was able to, one, have that open communication with her because of she truly invested in what I wanted to do and how I wanted to be. And so by being able to open that up and talk to her, she was like, look, she goes, to be honest, she was like, you're leaving at the end of the year. She goes, so I need to focus on, my athletes that are coming up. She goes, I've helped you as far as I can. And I was like, okay, like, that's fair. But I just kind of felt like my senior year, she kind of gave up on me because I was done. And that was something I wanted to not go do. Like, I want athletes to realize even after they may graduate high school, like, I still want to help them. I still want to pull for them. And once they leave the middle school level, I still care about them in high school. So that's what, nope, you're good. And so that's something that really made me want to be a coach. Was she was great for 3 out of 4 years. And then once that 4th year hit, something changed.
So, like, what are you gonna do? Like, with, you're gonna have 7th graders and 8th graders, and so, are you gonna kind of cut off that relationship? I know that in my situation, I would continue that relationship, because that relationship can continue all the way through for those kids, all the way up until college, and I know that people in my family go to weddings and get, all kinds of stuff. So I think that for her, that probably worked for her. I don't know. What would you do? After seeing that and being a part of that, how would you do it differently?
I would prefer to follow them even after they leave me. So to go watch them in high school, let them know I'm there to watch them. Ask them about their future college plans. And I had a teacher, I loved her to death. So she still keeps up with me, and I graduated high school 5 years ago, and she still keeps up with what I'm doing. And so I would truly I like to invest in them and show them I care about you more than the 2 years I see you. Like, I want to see you succeed in life, which I think I would be able to do. I haven't had that opportunity because I'm only just started teaching, but that is what I would like to do.
No, I like that. I think that's good. I think that's important, because, you're here all day with kids, especially with coaching. You're here longer hours than the typical teacher, and so you really do become kind of like another parent or just another mentor or something to some of the girls, and and you are a big part of their life.
Yeah.
And it is important to them for coaches to believe in them, and so I think that's good, really good. How are your lesson plans affected, kind of going in a different direction, how are your lesson plans affected by our state standards? And as far as the teachers go, how do you feel about the standards for math?
I think that I try to stay pretty aligned with the standards, but they definitely obviously have to drive the lesson plan, which I feel like limits the creativity in math a little bit. We don't get to be as creative as we would like because it's calculation. You have to know this for this TEK.
Okay. All
that.